You're being recorded, Will. Welcome to the That's Good Broncos podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Perna, your co-host, right next to me, or under me, Will Keys. This is a football podcast where we talk about the Denver Broncos and the NFL, even when there is nothing happening. Today's episode brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Use code DNVR when you sign up to take advantage of their offers, and my coffee company, Benchwarmer Brew, benchwarmerbrew.com. If you want to support this podcast, this channel, you can do it by giving me your fucking money. Will Keys is a fire survivor. His apartment nearly burned to the ground just about an hour after we did the podcast last week. So he is going to give us the details. I don't even know the story. I just know that he has been kicked out of his apartment because the fire damage was bad and it was unlivable. So he's going to give us the full story. We'll talk a little bit about Emmanuel Sanders because he did something very cool. And today, mistakes in the AFC West. We're working on a video for every team's biggest mistake. Well, it's really Bleacher Report posted an article about every team's biggest mistake over the last
We're reacting to it.
And we're reacting to it. We're going to say whether they're right or we're going to tell you why they're wrong. And I'm sure they are wrong at least half the time. So we will get to the AFC West, but first, I got to hear about what the hell happened at your apartment, Will.
Okay, so we recorded around, 1 o'clock my time. We got off the podcast, and so I went to go work on our NFC East script. And, in the meanwhile, I was doing a little bit of laundry. One of the perks of working from home is you can multitask a little bit, save you some work later in the day. I was at my couch working on the laptop, and I hear this like pop, pop, pop. And we have a really old washer dryer set. And so I assumed one of them just like gave out or something. So I went over, I didn't see anything, and I went back to the couch, and then about a minute later, I hear another like pop, 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 and it gets louder. And so I went back to the laundry room, and I looked up through the air vent, and I just saw flames everywhere. I was like, oh, that's a fire. And my first instinct was, oh, I can put this out. No, this is fine. So I went to go, my neighbor heard it or smelt it too. And so she had the fire extinguisher. Meanwhile, I was like, okay, how am I going to put this out? And then I just looked at it. I was like, I'm not going to put this out. And so what do you do? But you call 911. They got a hold of the fire department. Right as we were about to grab the fire extinguisher and just start shooting at it, the operator's like, yeah, get out of the building. What are you doing? Get out of there. So we both knocked to make sure everyone was out of their rooms. And luckily it was the middle of the day and 2 people were home, maybe 3. And so everybody got out. Everybody got their pets out too. And I come out, and 5 minutes later after I get out of the building, 4 fire trucks show up on the block. 4 fire trucks. Naturally, a crowd of people starts gathering.
Right.
The news shows up.
Oh, God.
Almost before the fire trucks got there. It was a cameraman for KCRA 3, which is the local NBC affiliate.
Those dogs.
Those bastards. It was a little Nightcrawler-ish. I was like, it's weird. It's a weird sensation for something that you I didn't start the fire, obviously. It was an electrical fire. But something that feels kind of your responsibility in your apartment turn into news is a very weird feeling. I wanted to be no, go away. Not now. But obviously you can't do that. That's their job. And so they cut, like the firemen and women, took their axes, like battered the door down, several doors, cut like holes through the ceiling into the attic, 'cause the fire was in the attic, above my laundry room, and just like
So it started
decimated
up in
my
the
apartment.
attic.
Yeah, it started in the wiring above the laundry room, and then because that's right at the bottom layer of the attic. And I've got pictures too, if anyone wants to see them. It's
Follow at Guillermo
pretty gruesome.
Yaves for hot fire picks.
Yeah. But so everybody's okay. That's what's important. I didn't lose that much stuff, which was really surprising to me. I just got the Xbox Series X after months and months of searching, and it would have been pretty funny if I lost that after like a week. But
Yeah, hilarious.
it still works perfectly. I got my microphone right here. My microphone made it.
Yep.
What else do you really need? Got the microphone, the laptop, ready to spit hot takes. The biggest tragedy, I think, in all of this is that it didn't happen while we were recording.
Yeah,
because
great.
That would have been perfect content. We could have titled it like, the heat of our takes burns down podcaster's apartment.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm not lucky enough to have your
5 million
apartment
views.
burned down during the show. Like, I just don't have that kind of luck.
Yeah. I mean, alternatively, I might have missed it and it could have, gotten out of control.
I mean, if we're talking views, you get seriously hurt. That's even better.
Yeah, probably. Overall, I'm okay with how it happened. The aftermath of it and having to like immediately move and put all your stuff in storage and move in with your parents is less than ideal, but it could be worse.
Could be worse. You got a nice new office right now.
Got a nice new office for the time being.
Oh.
So everything's okay. I appreciate everyone who checked in over the last week. And hey, man, we're here. I'm not missing an episode for this.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll miss an episode for other stuff like, scheduling conflicts, but not for this.
Not for this. So this happened while we were doing clickbait sports last week.
Oh, right. No, that's right. Yeah, because I remember clicking on the episode. It was probably on my laptop.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you texted me. You're like, let's see, what'd you say? I'm efforting. I want to see your first text.
Yeah, bizarrely, you're like one of the first people I texted.
Yeah, so I just, I think we were just finishing up. Like we were still chatting on clickbait. You're like, there was an electrical fire in my apartment. I'm okay. Had to call 911 and evacuate though. And then I said, damn, did they get it under control? You said, under control, truly terrifying. And then I responded with, good for the pod next week. And then I responded, glad you're okay.
Yeah.
If I'm being 100% honest, I thought about whether or not you were okay first, but I thought it would be funnier if I said this will be great podcast content. And then I got scared that I wasn't sensitive to the situation because I didn't know exactly how serious it was. And so I was like, I hope you know I was kidding about the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I picked that up. Yeah, I think once you're like, oh, everybody's okay, you're, all jokes are free to be made there. Yeah, there's a little bit of it.
There you can see a really shitty picture-in-picture version of some burnt down shit in your laundry room.
Yeah. I thought like, because I had to talk to a fire investigator. I had to talk to like the fire, I don't know if he's the chief, but just the captain. And he was like, he brought me up. He's like, all right, it's good that I have you here. Like, we need to talk about like your apartment. And I was like, oh shit, I just lost everything, didn't I? Like all my stuff burned up. And he like made it sound like that. He's like, I'm like, oh, is everything gone? He's like, oh yeah, you won't be able to live there anymore. I was like, oh, well, I knew that. Is my Xbox okay?
Did you save the Xbox?
Did you save the Xbox? Someone told me like,
if the Xbox wasn't in danger, did you spray any fucking water on it? Because I will come to the fire department to reimburse me for my Xbox if it was unnecessarily water damage.
$500. I paid another $20 for NBA 2K21, which was in the Xbox. The disc was in the Xbox. You'll have to foot the bill. But no, I walked in and my roommate's room, not in good shape. My room, it's totally intact.
Ooh, how much your roommate lose a bunch of shit then?
It just got like covered in like drywall and ash and what do you call it? Insulation.
Yeah.
So that it kind of got coated and all of that. But yeah, I just lost like everything in my bathroom, just totally destroyed.
Crazy.
But that's just bathroom stuff. Like none of that's worth anything.
Did the other people have to leave their apartments too?
Yeah. Yeah. The people next to us, they got fucked pretty bad.
Damn.
As well. They're in a hotel.
That sucks.
Luckily I have my mommy and my daddy to put me up in their guest room.
You need that. Mom and dad.
Here we are. And
not missing a beat.
I'm officially ready to talk football.
Cool. Because there's so much to talk about today, Will.
I know. Could have just stretched that out for the whole podcast, probably.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to text you that night to watch. You should watch Backdraft in honor of surviving the fire.
What is that?
Oh, you've never watched Backdraft?
No.
That's like it was like a huge 90s blockbuster movie about firefighters.
Backdraft 1991 with
yeah.
Kurt Russell and Billy Baldwin.
Yeah, it's really shitty. Like at the time, I think people thought it was great, but if you watch it now, it's a really nice bad movie. And you're like, this was
I know we like those.
This was the best that they got that year, huh? Some of the best. It feels like a fucking
Baldwin.
Made for TV movie if you watch it now. Like that's what I remember when I rewatched it. I was like, I thought this was supposed to be awesome. Like it doesn't hold up like Die Hard.
Minutes. That's a little long.
Yeah.
Music by Hans Zimmer, though.
Yeah, it's a real film. It's Hollywood.
74% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
No, I mean, I think people like it. I think if you're a fucking picky, critical film viewer, you're going to be like, this is kind of cheesy.
It's directed by Ron Howard. I think this might be a good movie.
Maybe I'll have to revisit it too. Maybe I'm confusing it with I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. I can't remember.
Oh yeah. No, that one's good too.
Striking out here with my movie reviews.
I was thinking about the movie Volcano from I think 1997. There's a really good scene where someone tries to jump hot lava, like a river of hot lava, and doesn't make it.
Was that like was that like an answer to Twister? They're trying to.
I think it was an answer to. Yeah, it was like up there with Dante's Peak.
That's right. The 90s, where you got two of the exact same movies every year from competing studios.
Yeah.
Now you just get remakes of those movies.
Friends with benefits and no strings attached.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're going to get into some football stuff here. Wanted to shout out Emmanuel Sanders, though, because, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, I tweeted a picture. Okay, let me tell just a little bit of backstory here.
Get a little context.
So I moved my office downstairs. And I have all of this like Broncos bullshit on these shelves. These shelves were upstairs last week, but I moved the shelves down. So I had like all my Bronco shit down here in the basement, and we're moving my wife's office upstairs. And in that process, like I'm trying to like make the backdrop looked nice over here. And then I was watching my daughter and I took her down to the basement. She used to be scared of the basement. Now she's kind of cool with it. And I set her up in this area where it's like safe. And I didn't bring anything down with her to play with. I was like, well, let me go look over this Broncos stuff because I knew I had like a little mini football and she's been liking balls lately, like hitting them and kicking them around the house. So I brought a little football. I brought a remote control, which is basically her favorite toy because she can't play with the goddamn remote controls. And then I brought over a little Emmanuel Sanders stuffed doll, I guess you could say. It's just like a stuffed animal, but it's Emmanuel Sanders. And I bought that thing. I saw it when I was out one day, like at, I don't know, King Supers or some shit. And there weren't any other player dolls. It was just Emmanuel Sanders dolls. And I was like, this is weird. I have to buy this right now. So I've had it forever. It's just sat on these shelves. I gave her that and she like fucking loved it. She was just like carrying it around everywhere. She just like running around the house with this little Emmanuel Sanders doll and she just learned to walk recently. So it's like super cute. So I got a photo of her holding the Emmanuel Sanders doll, tweeted it to Emmanuel Sanders, forgot about it. And then today on Twitter, he responds with, ha ha ha, love, autographed it for her. And he's got his digital autograph on the photo of her with the Emmanuel Sanders doll, which was awesome. Made my day. So much love for Emmanuel Sanders. Truly, probably the greatest Bronco player now in Broncos history, as far as I'm concerned, after that move. What are you doing? What'd you say?
I said one of our favorite players.
One of our favorite players.
Maybe the.
And some people are like, sell this as an NFT now. I was like, now we're talking.
I'm going to do that. Yeah.
So either way.
I'm looking at it right now.
Very cute. Very cool.
That's nice.
It was hard to get a picture because she kept like falling.
Yeah, that's what kids do.
Yeah.
She's walking pretty well now?
Yeah, now she is. Now she can go anywhere.
Damn.
She's like, today she started running successfully. Yeah. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, one step at a time there. Literally.
Yeah. And she's walking early too.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
She's not even 11 months old yet, but we're advanced walkers here. I come from a long history of very good walkers in my family. Usually in any given neighborhood, people are like, oh yeah, those Pernas, they're pretty good walkers. So that's been passed on to her genetically. We'll see cognitively what kind of brain skill she gets. I think that's stronger on my wife's side. So.
You guys are really good at getting from point A to point B with your feet.
Yeah.
Slowly.
If there's a sidewalk, we'll be on it.
Yeah.
Never tripping.
Maybe even a crosswalk.
Yeah. Crosswalks. We don't even press the button. We just know when to cross.
No.
Like it's instincts for us, really.
If you say you're at the airport and you're on one of those, one of those like flat
automatic walkways.
Do you walk on them?
Nope. Don't need to. I mean, I could do it backwards just to show off, but
yeah,
I'll walk faster on the side of it just because my muscles in my legs.
Yeah.
They're small, but they're quick twitch muscles. So it carries your body very fast. Unless the luggage is heavy. We don't got the upper body strength for that.
No, definitely not.
Fuck no. Best and worst of the before I do the DraftKings read, the one thing I wanted to talk to you about from the NFL this week. Oh yeah, we'll talk about Peyton and Eli Manning doing some Monday Night Football shit too.
Sure, yeah.
But this week, Adam Schefter tweeted that the Packers gave Aaron Rodgers a 2-year contract extension offer that would have made him the highest paid player in the NFL, and that he declined it. And Schefter tweeted that yesterday, I think.
Yeah, yesterday.
We already knew that. Like, that is old news. Like, the story about the Packers making him an offer and him rejecting it, that's been around, I feel like, since April or May at the latest.
Feels like it's been around since, like, 2005.
Yeah. Like, when they actually gave him that last contract offer.
Yeah.
My question to you is, it's like, We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Schefter has to already know that, right?
Yeah.
Unless he got new information that he was able to finally like confirm that happened this week. But Adam Schefter's the biggest NFL newsbreaker on earth. Okay. Nobody's got more Twitter followers than him. He's got the biggest platform with ESPN. He breaks important news quite a bit. He doesn't need to tweet information that we already know like that and present it like it's new information. It wasn't like we've known about this for a while, but I can confirm that this happened. Like it was just Aaron Rodgers. Like it felt like
like it just happened today.
It was the biggest story for football because of that. I mean, the fucking like local news was talking about it. The other new, like I was like, Jesus.
You had the NBA. You had the Game 6 of the NBA Finals was last night, and if you turn on ESPN, they're talking about Aaron Rodgers turning down a 2-year extension.
Yeah. So I guess like my question is, why did Schefter do it?
All right, so this is kind of a conspiracy theory, but not really. I think it makes pretty logical sense that he's got Aaron Rodgers news, and he's just got it like wrapped up neatly. He's got the tweets written out, and he's got them scheduled intermittently.
Wow.
And he is using that Rodgers news to bridge us from the offseason to training camp to the preseason. By the time preseason starts, he doesn't need to drop any more breadcrumbs, any more news. The Rodgers situation will become apparent, I think, by that point, whether he's going to play this season or not. And there'll be other news to keep us entertained, to keep us paying attention to the NFL. But this is really like clearly calculated because the NBA's got the spotlight right now. It did. The NBA's got the draft coming up next week. You've got the Olympics starting this weekend. He's just using this as like a little bit of leverage the NFL has just to draw eyeballs until August when the preseason starts. And then the regular season starts and no one's going to think about anything other than the NFL. So this is like very carefully orchestrated from a news breaking standpoint. He could give us all the Aaron Rodgers news of the next 2 weeks right now, but he's going to spread it out and keep us wanting more.
See, my thought is that just a day or two prior, like we're getting very close to Packers training camp starting.
Yeah.
People are really starting to believe that Aaron Rodgers will return to Green Bay. I think that's probably what's going to happen at this point.
Hold on. Let me stop you there, though. Why, if that was the case, if he's planning on going to training camp, he is a part owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. They had Game 6. They clinched the finals in their own building, Game 6 last night. Why would he not be there?
Oh, he doesn't like big crowds. That's why.
You sure?
I don't know. I don't fucking know what Aaron Rodgers likes.
If he was planning on showing up to training camp.
Okay, but just let me finish. Just let me finish.
Okay.
And then we can get back to that. Because my thought is people are starting to just say and assume Rodgers was going to show up. It feels like he might. It feels like if the trade was going to happen, something would be surfacing about it. And I feel like Adam Schefter started to hear some more criticisms about his tweet that started the whole firestorm. And Shefty was just like, no, he turned down this money. He is unhappy with the Packers. This is real. I wasn't making shit up back in April. That's my thoughts behind it. Aaron Rodgers, should he have been? I mean, Tom Grossi made it to Game 6 to watch the Bucks. Tom lives in New York City. So, yeah, should Aaron Rodgers have been there? Could he have taken a private jet to get there and sat in a luxury box? And I don't even know if Milwaukee has luxury boxes, to be honest.
I think they do, yeah.
If you were going to report for training camp in a week, that's a good observation. I just think, well, I mean, I hope he doesn't, right? I hope I'm surprised, but I feel like he's not going to just throw away that money, I think is in my mind. Again, if he's going to make a point to the Packers, it will be not showing up. At least, though, I am proud that we didn't run with did you see the cleaning article?
Mm-mm.
Some cleaning person who does football players' homes tweeted or Instagrammed or some shit that players at this time who are returning to their homes for the season ordered deep cleans for their homes. Aaron Rodgers ordered a deep cleaning for his home. And this was like a story people were running with as a piece of news as why Aaron Rodgers might be returning, including our biggest competition, Pat McAfee. Really clickbaited the shit out of people to use that little nugget. We did not do that. We have more integrity than that. But right now, you don't think he's going to show up next week? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. I think he will. You know what else will show up? DraftKings. Draft freaking Kings. DraftKings Sportsbook is not just my favorite sportsbook. It's America's top-rated sportsbook. Speaking of America, our top athletes are over in Tokyo competing for the gold, definitely not having sex. And DraftKings has a medal-worthy offer just for the listeners of this show. So check it. Place any pre-event wager of $1 to be eligible to cash $100 in free credits if America wins any medals this year. That's a pretty good bet. That's 100 to 1 odds on an American athlete to stand on the podium and receive gold, silver, or bronze this week. 100 to 1 odds on an offer like this doesn't come around often. So sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook now and get in on all of that Olympic action. I love using DraftKings because it's easy to navigate. If you're a noob better, they have plenty of instructions to help guide you, and there are limitless ways to get in on all of the action. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits if America wins a medal. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100 in free credits for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You got to be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. All right. AFC West. Biggest mistakes over the last 5 years. This was a Bleacher Report article. We are going to do one on the whole league on the main channel, but I thought for the podcast today, we could talk about the AFC West.
Yeah. Should we start with our team? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's the easiest one to figure out. So freaking easy. What do you think the biggest mistake is for the Broncos over the last 5 years, Will?
I think it probably has something to do with quarterback.
Yeah. Might be
one that like to cry a lot.
Paxton Lynch, is that what it is?
Yeah. I mean, the big mistake is we knew ahead of the draft that they were interested in Dak Prescott too.
Yeah, fuck.
And we all got suckered into that big 6'7" piratey looking son of a gun from Memphis. And we got bamboozled. We got fooled.
I mean, Brock Osweiler over Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott behind Paxton Lynch. They are the biggest mistakes John Elway made post Peyton Manning. We all know the story. We hate it. We're tired of hearing about it. But yeah, drafting Paxton Lynch set them back quite a bit.
Okay.
Would have been Imagine how nice imagine seeing Paxton Lynch as a Dallas Cowboy.
Oh,
Broncos
man.
have Dak. We're competing right now every year in the division. I'm not saying Dak's the best quarterback in the league, but I think he's a top 10 guy. I would kill to have him right now.
I'd roll with Dak for sure.
I want Dak a lot more than that other quarterback in Texas. I can tell you that right now. It's funny, like
4.
every now and then there's just a little piece of Deshaun Watson news that pops up, like,
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson still ready to play, assuming these 22 lawsuits go away really quickly.
That he is.
Yeah, no shit. Okay, so yes. Is there a second mistake for the Broncos? Knowing Paxton's the big one, is there something else like you think they could have done differently that might have changed their fortunes just a bit? Like, people want to criticize Elway for that. And there are things that happened while they happened that I didn't like Aqib Talib leaving, TJ Ward.
Yeah. I mean, I've got another pretty obvious one.
Yeah, what is that?
Vance Joseph over Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, that would be the big one.
That one's pretty big. I
would,
yeah.
Did
that might be bigger than Paxton Lynch?
Was Lynch and Joseph the same year, or
no? Lynch
Kubiak
was before.
Yeah, Kubiak was still coach with Lynch, and we kind of learned after that Kubiak did not want Paxton Lynch. Is that correct?
Nope. I mean, that's why he played Trevor Siemian instead.
Yeah. So, yeah, John Elway ignored his head coach's advice there.
Yeah.
Who just won him a Super Bowl. Yeah, I think you could live with the Paxton Lynch pick if you had just not, like, you would be, if I could do one over, I think I would go with Kyle Shanahan over Vance Joseph.
It felt like the Kyle Shanahan one feels less like a mistake and more like just kind of the sad inevitability of like where the relationship was with the Shanahans over, the course of decades.
Yeah, I don't think they were
just like kind of going eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We like this guy better. There was like some serious resentment, I think, from Mike Shanahan and either Joe Ellis or, whoever.
Yeah.
Whoever pissed each other off. And that kind of created a rift that made it uncomfortable for them to reunite.
I think the other thing was that Elway decided Vance Joseph was his guy before the process.
Yeah.
Like,
they
wanted him the year before they wanted him for defensive coordinator before they brought in Wade Phillips, right? But they weren't allowed to interview him or whatever. So I think Elway had already decided like that was his guy. And in addition to probably that other stuff. Okay. Broncos' biggest mistake. There we go. Let's go to the Raiders. Because it's really hard to pick one for the Raiders.
Well, yeah. I mean, they've made so many mistakes over the last really 4 years, because if you go back to 2016, they were 12-4. They're doing a lot of things right for one season. But after the 2017 season, they fire Jack Del Rio and they give a 10-year contract to John Gruden. So you can go look at, like, what's his first move? Khalil Mack trade. In hindsight, not as big of a mistake as we thought before, but they've definitely squandered those picks.
Yeah. That's the thing. When you get the picks, you got to hit on them.
Yeah, right. And like, Mack hasn't been a world beater in Chicago. I don't know if he's been worth the picks, but they haven't taken advantage of the picks. So yeah, Cleveland Farrell, Jonathan Abram not looking great, Damon Arnett already looking bad. They traded for Antonio Brown. I mean, here's the point. They all did this because they gave a 10-year contract to John Gruden, and John Gruden doesn't know what he's doing. And you can kind of pair him with Mike Mayock there, but I think everybody believes that John Gruden is the ringleader and the architect behind all these colossal mistakes.
Yeah, I think, like, for Gruden, And his personality type, you needed a GM who was not going to be a yes man to him, or a GM who is going to have a differing vision or opinion. Because it's weird. And that's it's not an easy thing to identify. It's a delicate relationship between like your head coach and your GM. And you want that relationship to be good, like it is with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Like that's an example of a symbiotic GM head coach. They're on the same page and they're going to make the right decisions. But it's like you give two drunk guys the keys, and that's what John Gruden and Mike Mayock feel like.
Right.
Feels like they're going to agree too often, and they have proven that a lot of their bad decisions are their fault. It's not. It's reaching for draft picks, and those guys are not like these great players that they think they are. It's bad free agency moves. I think this last offseason is probably going to be another example of that. Bringing in like old, slow, aging players. It's just.
And he's been so bad off the field. But Gruden's still a really good X's and O's game day coach.
Yeah.
To the point where they're never going to get like the first pick in the draft. They're never going to suck that bad.
Yeah.
So they're they don't have the talent to really like win the division or even make the playoffs so far, but they're good enough to go 8-8.
Yeah.
Which, as we all know, doesn't get you much of anything.
Gruden should just be coaching. He should just be coaching.
They should lock him in a closet like Mario Chalmers whenever there's not a practice or a game taking place.
Honestly, Gruden should just be an offensive coordinator, probably.
Yeah, I think that, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, he's got this great personality. I'm not sure
we
players
get suckered in. We get sucked in by the personality.
It's a TV personality.
Yes, exactly. And we know he won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay because of Tony Dungy's players, and he knew the Raiders playbook, so that kind of helped. But overall, you know what? He hasn't been very good since like 2005.
Yeah. Okay. Next team. Definitely John Gruden. We agree with that on Bleacher Report. Chargers. Bleacher Report has Chargers' biggest mistake as leaving San Diego.
Yeah, I left San Diego a couple weeks ago, and that felt like a mistake. It's a really nice place.
It's a great city. I lived there for 2.5 years.
Good spot. So this was just disappointing. I think along the same lines as not quite the same as the Raiders leaving Oakland for Las Vegas, which is probably not a mistake for them financially. But they had fans in San Diego. I don't want to say they're great fans in San Diego, but when the Chargers were good, the fans were really, really into it. Now, if the Chargers are good, no one cares because no one in LA cares about the Chargers. Now no one in San Diego, I don't think, cares about the Chargers. So you got the worst of both worlds there. They've got one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the NFL in Justin Herbert now. And still, like, the only people hyping them up aren't fans. It's like LA media.
Yeah.
They always feel like it feels like there's always this effort to pump up the Chargers before the season since they moved to LA, because like the media is trying so desperately, especially NFL media. So like state sponsored media is trying so desperately to get the local populace involved with the Chargers, and it's just not working. And two other notes about this. They made us sit through that Hard Knocks season where they shared it with the Rams. That was terrible. And second of all, no Boltman. Boltman did not make the trip to LA.
That's a tragedy, a real tragedy. I think the Chargers' biggest mistake is drafting great defensive players who always get hurt.
Yeah, that too. Because it's worse than missing on the picks altogether.
Yeah, you hit. You drafted Jason Verrett, you drafted Joey Bosa, you drafted Derwin James. All these guys studs. And Bosa's finally been, healthy for 2-ish years, but in their first 2 years, always those guys it's just bad luck. It's their best move was drafting Justin Herbert. That was smart. We'll give them credit for that. But yeah, it's stupid because they had to go to LA. Basically, they were forced there because they needed 2 teams to justify the money going into that stadium. And Chargers just happened to be the closest, and they just happened to be in a city that didn't want to pay for their stadium to be a new stadium to be built for them. So really what should have happened, if you want to talk about football fans, is it should be the Raiders and the Rams in LA, because I think they would actually have the most support there. And the Chargers should be in Vegas, or they should have been relocated to a football hungry city that could have gotten behind them. Of course, do you think probably Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Do you think the Chargers will move again?
I don't know. It depends on the financial ramifications.
Really, there's talk about putting them in St. Louis. Now you've got this huge lawsuit between St. Louis and the NFL.
NFL just gives St. Louis the Chargers. Here you go.
Maybe. Why not?
Poor Chargers. Could you paint that? Could you paint the Allegiant Stadium yellow for the Chargers, just if they swap to Vegas?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would paint the stadium yellow. Why not?
It's, something to match.
Yeah. Powder blue would look kind of cool.
Yeah, I really agree with your idea that the media is forced to try and hype them every year because they've got to sell LA as a football city, and it's not working yet. It's not.
Yeah, the Rams have been good since they moved to LA.
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel like anyone there is super into it.
No, but they were good without a star offensive player. Basically, you need a star quarterback to really get a city going.
You do. That's very true.
Stafford could help. He's not a star, but I think he's more appealing than Jared Goff.
Hard to be a star in Detroit.
Yeah. Hard to do anything in Detroit.
Hard to walk down the street there.
Okay, Chiefs. Final AFC West team. Biggest mistake for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is one we disagree with. I disagreed with this before the news about Frank Clark even came out, but they said the Chiefs' biggest mistake was trading for Frank Clark in 2019, which is interesting because he has the most postseason sacks in Kansas City Chiefs franchise history. He turns on a different gear in the playoffs, and he's been a huge part of their success in the postseason.
They traded a first-round pick for him.
Yeah.
They traded a pick that was 30 through 32. So barely a first-round pick for him. He has not been incredible in the regular season.
No.
Been really good in the playoffs. That's not even taking into account the domestic violence stuff and the firearms arrests this last offseason.
Let's just say firearms, since that's all that's happened since he's been in Kansas City. Will.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's just trading for someone with that history. You could call it a mistake. I don't know. Maybe the Chiefs wouldn't. But no, this is not an organization that's made many mistakes.
Yeah.
I think recently, so it's hard to pinpoint one. Maybe whoever handed the keys to Andy Reid's son on the way out. Just kind of looking the other way while he was, sucking on a bottle of whatever in team meetings.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually fair in that happened the week before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Had to have affected Andy Reid emotionally, mentally.
The whole team probably.
Yeah. I mean, I think their biggest mistake might play out this season.
Interesting.
Yes.
And what is that mistake?
I think it's just not bringing back one of your two tackles that has been a staple of your offense. And I think they've done a great job replacing them. But they, Kyle Long already injured. He should be ready to go by the time the season starts. But the concern there is he going to stay healthy? So you may have some issues there at guard.
Yeah, you got chemistry too that you have to build.
But I think they paid a shit ton of money on that line, and probably could have kept, I don't know, one of their guys cheaper. It made it work, and it would have been all right. But I'm kind of reaching for straws.
It feels like they spend a lot of money.
Yeah, it feels like that's got to catch up at some point.
Yeah, it feels like they spend a lot of money when, the real key to the success is like Andy Reid.
Yeah.
If I were them, I would just try to, get Andy Reid on a diet, get him to live 15 years longer, and install him as head coach forever. Yeah,
you want to get him to be healthy as possible.
Yeah.
Have that longevity. Probably.
Although maybe if he is healthy, he wouldn't be the same caliber head coach. I don't want to mess with what's not broken.
The recipe for success. Yeah. Andy Reid's mastered it.
Recipe for success calls for a lot of carbs.
Yeah, maybe drafting secondary corners. They figured it out, but there's not a corner on that defense that's a shutdown guy or something that they've got a good secondary now because they have decent pass rush, but you'd have to really kind of think about trying to figure out where the Chiefs maybe could have made one key move.
Le'Veon Bell was
a mistake,
but not a very costly mistake.
Yeah.
Do you think cutting Kareem Hunt was a mistake?
Based on keeping Frank Clark and Tyreek Hill, because Kareem Hunt.
If you're just gonna be the team that doesn't care, then just be the team that doesn't care and have Kareem Hunt on your team.
Yeah, that's probably the Kareem Hunt. That might work too because he's a really good running back, and he's not even the best running back on his current team with the Browns. And so whenever he goes in, he's a threat to score.
I would say, you know what? You could probably make the case for Clyde Edwards-Helaire last season too. I think they probably could have spent that first rounder elsewhere. Probably could have spent it on an offensive lineman.
Yeah, we'd have to look at
saved him some money.
What happened in the second round of last year's draft?
Yeah. Not a lot of mistakes by the Chiefs, which is not surprising. They were 14-2 last year, and the year before they won the Super Bowl. So
yep, yeah, they've been good.
They've been pretty good.
I know they've been fucking good. Okay. All right, and then let's end on a positive note here. We've got Peyton and Eli Manning in the alternate Monday Night Football broadcast booth. That I'm excited about. Yeah, that is a slam dunk for ESPN, and you don't hear people say that about ESPN at all anymore. Anytime ESPN's in the news, it's because of something they have fucked up royally. It's either Stephen A. Smith hating people who don't speak English, or their
preposterous.
Their programming mistakes, them firing longtime employees, not wanting to pay them.
Screwed up the hot dog eating contest.
Yeah. Well,
that was unforgivable.
They don't want to pay anybody except for Stephen A. Smith, which is why he's going to put his foot in his mouth sometimes.
Really?
So it's like, their Monday Night Football broadcast crew, when it had Booger McFarland and Joe Testes Are Sore, nobody liked that. Now we look back at Booger fondly, but it's just because he was bad.
Yeah.
And now the current crew, I like the current crew. Like, I don't mind the current crew. I think they're all solid guys, solid football guys that I enjoy listening to. And your joke about them getting to keep the master bedroom while their wife sleeps with her new boyfriend in the guest room was spot on, because that's basically what ESPN's doing. They're trying to compete with, well, I'll be live streaming Broncos games this year. They're trying to compete with that alternate broadcast now, which is fucking YouTubers doing it and being able to say whatever they want. And so they're bringing in their powerhouse, the Manning family, the football royalty, maybe America's royalty at this point.
I think they're up there. They don't have as much controversy as the British Royals.
No, Mannings rarely make public mistakes. But it's going to be 10 games. What's that?
I was just thinking a couple from college, but maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
We won't get to the teabagging incident.
Yeah. Something, teabagging means one thing to the British, means another to the Mannings.
Yeah. They get 10 games every year. They'll be bringing in celebrity guests. They'll be talking about big picture football stories, inside things. It won't be just like play by play. And you'll watch it on ESPN Plus or ESPN2. So you can just choose your broadcast, which there's going to be tons of options too, because Amazon they're going to be doing Thursday Night Football. Yeah. They're going to have alternate broadcasts. They're reaching out to YouTubers to do shit as well. But
which ones?
None of the guys I know are going to do it, because you got to be on Twitch only. So YouTube's really got to get into that game of getting people the rights to talk during the footage playing. Yeah. YouTube does that. They're the best platform for it too. And they got the money. YouTube needs to make that play sooner rather than later. Anyway, I'm excited to watch the football games and be able to listen to the Mannings talk about them. Especially for Monday night games that I don't really want to fucking watch. That's when it's going to be money. When you got Bengals versus, I don't know, whoever the Bengals have to play.
Yeah, you got, right. Bengals Giants is on in week 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should definitely make sure that these games are broadcast near the end of the season for when we really stop caring about Monday Night Football.
Yeah, well, they're definitely getting the first 3 games of the season, so people will be.
Yeah, they gotta introduce it. Then I think they should shelve it for the back half for when we start to lose interest. But yeah, how could anyone say no to this? I think the point, everybody expected Peyton Manning to be a full-time broadcaster, like Tony Romo or something like that. And yeah, he'd be great, but it just doesn't seem like he wants to commit to any one thing.
Peyton, yeah,
post-retirement, it's he just wants to do a little bit of everything, and that's fine. It frees him up and Eli to spend time with their kids, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, I'm sure he's making a shit ton of money doing this. It's a 10-game commitment. If I could get away with that for an NFL season, I would take it.
Does he get to do it from his couch?
Probably not. It's partnered with his production company, Omaha Productions, which produces, Peyton's Places and a bunch of other shit that I haven't watched yet. But, Peyton Manning has a more successful production company than me. He gets to do Monday Night Football for 10 games. It's going to be good, though. It's going to be good. Manning's Eli, and you can't replace brothers banter. They know each other. There's an organic chemistry already built in. and like you can put whoever you want in a broadcast booth, and those two guys can eventually get there. But like Manning, Peyton, and Eli will have that right away, and I think that'll make for good TV. So I saw that like it's like ESPN has yet to like name a host for the show.
Interesting.
Why insert a third guy? You don't need a host.
No.
Like if you're trying to figure out somebody to steer the ship there, you don't fucking need it.
Didn't Peyton Manning host the ESPYs?
Yeah.
Can't he just do it himself?
Yes.
He seems capable.
Like if you want something that feels a little different, do not bring in some broadcast dude. Like you just don't need it there.
Dude, we don't want like Trey Wingo messing up the whole vibe.
No, and I like Trey Wingo.
I'm ambivalent. I think if you got Chris Berman in there, if you brought him out of retirement again, Chris Berman would be great.
I think he is. I think they're giving him some. He has some show.
Oh yeah, he still has NFL primetime.
Yeah,
like once a week.
Anyway,
I love that.
That's our podcast. Now, Will.
Oh, yeah, that's good enough.
John Elway did play his entire career without an ACL, which is far more impressive than Peyton Manning. Tom Brady playing without an MCL for one season.
And good night.
Good night and good luck. And God bless those firefighters out there.
God bless them.